What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the NVM channel. In today's episode, we are going for huge power in our E46 touring project.
Don't matter if you cars for the road or tracks. Mexico on the lanes or Dunnington doing up laps. Car man, I got maps doing up maps. Maximum power, cars get gaps. They got tuners, we got tuners, but they're tuners a load of. Man got the map, what kind of map? Best don't map, fastest lap. Zoom in, don't watch how big man map. 3 maps, take a passenger seat, watch a man collapse. Foot to the floor, rev to the max. The team got through like axe. All you see is flames, all you hear is bullets and bangs.
So the E46 touring has been a great project of ours thus far. I'll tell Times to chuck in a few clips as to what we've been up to up until now. This is our budget car project.
5-speed manual, not a 6 that you get.
This is what the car's left behind.
Got a problem?
Who needs it automatic?
And that would have snapped there, causing catastrophic failure.
I'm getting pulled over!
They didn't believe us it was this cold, did they? So as you've seen there, suspension, tyres, wheels,
Gear lever.
gear lever. We're not allowed to call it a gear, are we? But yes, all of that is being taken care of. It's time for some serious power, because it is one of the slowest cars in our fleet, isn't it? We can't have that. I mean, last week we showed you guys the X3 35D camera car that Times drives around in, and I've got to be able to keep up with him in something that cost me £1,000. So there has been many suggestions in the comments that you guys have left with us with turbo conversions, supercharger conversions, and even a Tesla battery conversion. But we went through all the options and we thought to ourselves, we have to go for the biggest engine we can get in here. So we looked at the engine options and we've seen the most common engine swap on an E46 is a 1JZ, but it's been done too often in my opinion. You can get a K20 conversion, and also you can go big diesel engines and other Jap engines too, but I think we're going to keep it as German as we can. So I'm going to leave you with the lads to take that engine out, and I'm going shopping, mate. See you in a bit. So doing an engine swap is no easy feat, especially if it's an engine swap that no one's done before or there's no hardware available. As I said, the most common swaps, there are many different types of brackets, ECU looms, etc. that you can get, and it would be pretty much a straight swap. But finding a good engine in whatever manner is very difficult. So today's shopping is going to be to get the bare necessities so that we can mock up engine mounts and locations for ancillaries. So a lot of the work we do here is on OEM engine ECUs, which gives us the ability to utilize the OEM manufacturer's way of tuning the vehicle. Now obviously on an engine swap you will have to go aftermarket ECU. Which ECU we go for totally depends on the control for the engine we choose. So stuff like variable valve timing, Vanos, turbocharger, fuel pressure, etc. So that's going to be very interesting, and it's a journey we're going to take you guys on with as well. Talk about the difference in ECU management, the control, and how we are going to get the power that we want from this swap. The E46 touring is so practical. I mean, in this day and age you can buy other tourings of a different nature, like the new G81 M3 Touring X-Drive, which is an absolute beast. Rave reviews all over the internet for it, but it is a £100,000 car, and I think building this E46 to beat one of them is going to be key. Obviously it's going to be a lot of fun too. Do you guys think we can beat it? There are other tourings that are really quick from the factory. Again, over £100,000 for an RS6 C8, for example. Performance and handling is going to be the priority on this build, but we might be changing the colour and even some carbon fiber, some new wheels. But you guys will have to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more. So I'm gonna go pick up some bits. I'll catch you guys in the unit.
Basically, when I was taking it out, I found that this is supposed to be connected there, but it was dangling around.
So he's took the engine out and that's just popped off, basically. We'll find out, we'll soon find out.
Man's not going to be happy about that.
Did you get your bits?
I think I got most of what I need, mate. Did you guys pull that engine out?
Yeah, come and have a look.
So that's really good to see. The 4-cylinder, 2-litre petrol engine, naturally aspirated, is now out of the 318i. Yes, it's been a great journey to see how much power we can get. We've got some pops and bangs. We've got a nice 6-speed short shifter in there, and it's done us proud. But check out what we've got. So here we have it, guys, the engine we have chosen for our E46. Yep, it's a B58 B30 engine from a BMW M140. Now this ain't the actual engine we're putting in, but we're using this to mock up all the engine mounts. It's a spare block with a sump and a very rare 6-speed manual. This is probably the biggest piece of the puzzle since we started this project. We could find so many ZF 8-speed boxes, but we couldn't get a 6-speed manual that was working and operational. So now that's here, we can get cracking with getting this car in, wired and set up and turning up. So obviously at NVM, we know our way round the B58 engine, and that's why we chose it. Obviously the standard engine block can take about 650 brake horsepower before you have to forge the internals. And obviously to get 1,000 brake horsepower, we're gonna do a full engine build. We do have 2 engines for this car. This one is just to mock up the mount, as I said previously, but I don't think we're gonna go through with all of that unless you guys hit that thumbs up button. I wanna see 1,000 likes on this video, and we need more subscribers, so smash that subscribe button. Otherwise, we ain't gonna show you every episode on this Silver Surfer. So the great thing about working with B58 cars on a daily basis is the fact that we can have a vehicle here to take measurements from, and it's so important to get the measurements, especially from gearbox mounting, engine mounting, the prop shaft length, especially the fact that the actual 3-bolt flange on a F-Series car is way bigger than that which was on a E46 era, so it means there's going to be a lot of custom fabrication for both the mounting at the front, mounting in the middle, and also the prop shaft length and the flanges too. In terms of ECU control, there are a few options. I'm not too sure which one we're going to go with, but we want something to integrate into the E46 and still be usable with the OEM controls. So the great thing about the E46 is the chassis, although maybe different with the 3 litres and the M3, internally of the chassis, majority of the mounting points are the same. So that means that this vehicle can come with a 6-speed box or a 5-speed box. So technically speaking, looking at the measurements, we can actually see that the engine and gearbox out of an M140 will fit in the space provided without changing much to the actual internals of the chassis. So obviously there's more to figure out, especially when it comes to fueling. The standard pump on an E46 is made for about 4.5 to 5 bar of pressure in comparison to the B58s, which run 210 bar in some applications. So that's a lot of fabrication, a lot of custom work needs to go into the fueling side of things, let alone the exhaust. In terms of the back and the exhaust, I do want to keep it as OEM as possible for now, utilizing the Scorpion exhaust system on the one side with maybe a thicker, larger bore diameter in the middle. Now obviously The most important thing for this car is to retain its manual drivability. So setting up the shift rod and the link arm is going to be key to getting a precise gear change. So for now, we're going to utilize the rear end of the E46. Yes, the diff itself is quite small. We don't know if it can handle the torque, but we are going to mount it up to the gearbox and see what sort of ratios we are getting out of this setup. Yes, we have upgraded the rear arm, so we've got good camber and toe, and obviously the shock absorbers are being upgraded too. In terms of the brakes, we are going to go for an E46 M3 rear brake setup and something slightly different for the front. So it looks like this engine is going to be a bit of a squeeze, but to see more of it, make sure you guys stay tuned, and if you're not tuned, make sure you give us a call to get tuned.
Subscribe and like, the visuals nice, with times in the cam. The drive is right when programmed by the MV gang. He's doing it well, he's doing it right, and they can't do it like man. NV Motorsport, it's in the game. Gang.